Welcome everyone to our long service leave claims online webinar. This is the second session of this theme that we're hosting. I think we held the first one last week, which is available on our website if you wanted to go back and have a look at that one. For those who don't know me, my name's Aaron, and what we plan on doing today is walking through exactly how you can submit a long service leave claim online through the worker portal. Just as an FYI, this function went live last Monday, the 13th of April, and it replaces the need for anyone to undertake the claims process via that manual form that we had on our website. As I said earlier, we've pinned a couple of links to the chat, and all of these are also available on our website. Before I go too much further, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. Today I'm on Kaurna land and I pay my respects to the Kaurna people and also pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us today. So today we're going to walk through everything you need to know and what to expect around using the new system. We'll cover off just some basic key dates that you should all be aware of or need to be aware of. We'll go through the online claims process in full, just a step-by-step guide. We'll have some time for some additional information at the end, and then we'll definitely open it up for those who are brave enough to put their hand up and ask some questions, or if you wanted to, like I said, you can put a question through the chat function anyways. So let's just start with a timeline real quick. The big picture, these are the big picture dates. The scheme officially started on the 1st of October last year. The quarterly reporting period that we've just finished or is just being completed is the 1st of January to the 31st of March reporting period, and the levy and the return is due today, the 21st of April, and confirming that the online long service leave claims process went live on the 30th of April. So whilst we've got everything now in motion, I just wanted to go through a few things with you. I guess the real important part as to why this has changed, why we've made this change, and I'll be super crystal clear about this. It just means that the process now allows anyone requesting to take a form of leave online. So it probably is a lot simpler process for everyone once they get used to the system. It allows the person to track the status of the submission from when they first submit it right through to the payment process. There's obviously no more need to print out documents, share it with your employer, get them to complete their section manually and emailing it through to us. So there's no more chasing of those forms. Just on the online process, if there's any reason why you can't or have any issues or whatever around doing the online process, just let us know. We'll try and work out a way that that helps you do it. If you're a computer illiterate, or if you've got any issues with accessing a computer, we'll be able to help you out in that space. So just reach out. And the process allows, I guess, anyone submitting a claim at any time. From anywhere, so it doesn't again need that manual process form requirement where you need to work with your employer to get that signed and sent through to us. So essentially, hopefully, this makes your life a lot easier. Bit of key information as we move forward. I just want to be really clear about the information you'll need up front. So all of these things are going to be needed ahead of making the claim and undertaking the claim form. So what we would expect people to have in front of them as they're about to claim is their login details, their tax file number. It's important to understand that it's not mandatory for your tax file number to be included, but if it's not, there is the expectation that the highest taxed rate at 47% will be withheld if you skip that section. Bank details are obviously very important. We're finding that sometimes people are putting in things like check account or what their nickname is for the bank account into the bank account name. That's obviously going to cause a bit of an issue, because what we need is your bank details, exactly how your bank reflects them with you. So your name, whatever it is that you have with your bank, and all your bank account details in your BSB form, so we can make sure we get those payments to you as quickly as possible. Another thing I just want to make very clear, and this hasn't changed from using the pre-scheme state act, that 1 week of long service leave equals 7 calendar days. So long service leave works in calendar days. Just because you might work for 5 days, Monday to Friday, or if you're a part-time or casual and you work a lot less than that, you might only work 2 days a week. If you want a 1 week off of work, your 1 week normally off of work, you need to claim 7 days. It's really important that you understand that. There's been a ton of questions and a bit of confusion around what that looks like. The system online asks you, and we'll go through this in a minute, asks you for your start date and your last day of leave, and it automatically calculates it. So if you get a bit of a surprise as to how many days are being claimed, that's the reason why. All right, what's next? First and foremost, step one is the simple process of logging in. So what we find is everyone has an email address and a password. If it's your first time accessing the portal, you might have to request a new link for the portal from us to verify you. Some instances that we are seeing is that when the employer has registered their workers, the workers haven't necessarily jumped online and not registered themselves, but jumped online to acknowledge their registration. So a new link only lasts for a few days. So a new link will likely have to be sent out to you, the worker, for them to undertake that process. The other security measure is that there's a multi-factor authentication process. So you'll need to have a authenticator app on your device. I think what we're suggesting is either the Google Authenticator or the Microsoft Authenticator. I use it every day for my own logons as well, and as much as I think it's a pain in the bum, it actually protects my information and makes sure that everything that I'm talking about is very secure. So it is something that once you've got set up, it's easy to use moving forward, but we will require that to be undertaken. Once you log on, once you've been through the reCAPTCHA and the authenticator process, you'll land on the worker portal dashboard. This is what it looks like, and this is the home base for all of the workers, where they can see what service information has been recorded for them so far. Just importantly, when you come to this page, this is only going to show you what your portable long service leave balances look like and all of the leave taken. So this is only when it comes to portable long service leave. All of your pre-scheme service is on the system if we've received that data from the employer, and we'll just run through that in a minute, because you can have a look at what that looks like through the claims drop-down box on the top of the dashboard there. So just to confirm, what's in green you'll see is all portable, and your pre-scheme service, your state long service leave, won't show there for the time being. And then that's either because, one, we haven't received the state long service leave return from your employer, or two, it's accessible through a different page on this dashboard. When a claim is submitted, we verify all of the balances available. There may be some discrepancies that show up initially, and that's generally because a worker has taken some leave recently or since the implementation of the scheme. So what we're saying is not to worry or not to panic in that space. It gets resolved when the claim is submitted. and our team at the back end does what it needs to do. So if everything looks all right in this space, again, recognizing that we might not have got all your data captured because of those reasons I mentioned earlier, you can start the process of making a claim. So what happens is once, if you decide that you want to make a claim, it's a pretty straightforward process. You go to the Forms tab up there near the little house, and you scroll down to the long service leave claim option. Make sure you're selecting the right button in this space. This will open up the claims form option. So this is where you get to select what claim type you want. Make sure you're selecting the correct claim type that you want. It's fairly simple in the sense of an understanding perspective. If you want to take a holiday, if you want to take some leave, you would select long service leave claim. If you want to take a cash out payment in lieu of having a holiday or some leave, you would select the cash out option. And then if you've left the sector altogether and you want to termination payment for your leave, you would select termination payment. And there are two other options there, which we won't go into today, but they are the self-employed contractor claim and the working director claim. So again, make sure that you are double checking and you are claiming or selecting the right form. If you select the wrong form and it's incorrect, it will we will cause a delay in our processing timeframes, as we'll need to work with you on, I guess, stopping or ceasing that application and starting again. So once you're in the form and you're committed to it, this is what comes next. The step four is when we talk about eligibility and whether or not your organisation has a enterprise agreement that allows you to take leave prior to the normal long service leave accrual timeframes. So you'll be asked the first question, and if you have worked for if they do have an enterprise agreement, you would select yes, and you'll need to provide us with the name of the enterprise agreement that your organisation has. What I would suggest, if you don't know what the name of the form is, just ask your employer, and you can write it, you can enter it in once you know it. The other question on this page around eligibility is if you've been employed with your employer for more than 7 years. So there's a little bit of a nuance in this question, because if any worker has worked for more than 7 years that transitioned over the 1st of October date, and then have since left and moved on to another employer, you do have 7 years of service to claim, but it does actually suggest that you're not with your current employer. So if you do have that 7 years to claim, select yes. If you select no, it just means you don't meet the criteria, and the system will stop you from processing and proceeding. So the nuance there is if you've got 7 years of service, continuous service with your employer when you transitioned over to the portal scheme on the 1st of October, then you have the ability to claim leave. I guess what we're trying to do in this space here is to protect you, and I guess us as well, from submitting claims that can't be approved. If you're a little bit unsure about your eligibility, or again, that enterprise agreement form, check with your employer, or you can always reach out to us as well, and we can try and help you through those steps. The next section, again, as I alluded to up front, is where you would enter your tax file number to ensure you get the appropriate tax withheld. If you don't enter your tax file number, the highest rate will be withheld. We also ask you just to respond to the residency status yes or no question there, and that's really just for taxation purposes. Make sure that you are entering your tax file number carefully. It's correct. because we don't want any nasty surprises, and I'm sure you don't either. So moving on to the next section, this section is called employer details, and this is where all of your state long service leave or your pre-scheme service is captured. And you'll have one of these for each of the employers that you work for. So as you can see on your screen here, this person has 13.9143 state long service leave weeks available. And this is not the portable long service leave details. What we're seeing quite regularly is a bit of confusion around completing this section, taking leave from your employer, that you have some available balances to take, and then unfortunately replicating those same dates in the portable long service leave details section, which is a duplication. So what we need you to understand and workers to understand is, if you're only taking leave from the employer, from the pre-scheme service, you only need to enter it into this section, not into the portable section. If you are taking leave from multiple employers and some of your portable long service leave, then you would complete each section. You'll see that your balance appears in weeks. You'll need, when you claim leave here, it gets deducted from that specific employer only. Again, if you have multiple employers, you'll need to complete the employer details section separately for each employer that you want to claim from. So at this stage, you may need to check your employment details are correct, confirm the salary sacrifice arrangements with your employer, and enter the amount that you want paid back to your employer. Salary sacrifice is undertaken by us sending that portion of your payment back to your employer for them to manage as they would normally manage with the salary sacrifice provider. You would enter the first day of leave and your last day of leave, and as I said earlier, that would automatically calculate the days of leave on the bottom right there. This is the section I mentioned when it comes to your portable long service leave details. Here is, this section needs to be completed only if you're claiming portable leave. If you're claiming the pre-scheme service and no portable leave, this section does not need to be completed. So just try to remember or share with your team that we want to avoid the duplication of the leave application. So make sure that the state long service leave section is completed, and this, if there is no portable leave being requested, that this is left blank. However, if you are claiming portable long service leave, again, you'll need to confirm your portable long service leave balance, and you can see the balance here. Where is it? It's listed as 1.3 weeks of long service leave remaining. Please check your estimated rate of pay on the top right there. If anything looks wrong, this is the information that we've received from your employer. If anything looks wrong, I would suggest you could just go back to having the chat with them about it, and whether or not we need to talk to your employer about making a change to that section or not, we'll do so. But that's the information that we get provided from them. Again, if you're not claiming portable long service leave, just simply skip this section. Next up, this is around payment frequency. So simply, it pops up with your first day of leave and your last day of leave and asks you to select how often you want to be paid. So when it comes to taking a holiday or taking some long service leave, a break from work, holiday from work, you'll have the option of choosing some options there. So you can have a one payment for the entire period. You can get some fortnightly payments and so forth. Really important to note that the option of payments other than a single payment is only available when a worker wants to take a holiday. When it comes to cash outs and termination, the only option is for a single payment. We don't offer other alternative payment periods like fortnightly or weekly payments. So really, it's entirely up to the worker how they want their cash flow to come in. If they want to marry it up with what they would normally get paid at a cycle, like a fortnightly cycle, that's entirely up to them. The next section is obviously a very important section. This is where we get the details from the worker and where we pay the long service leave payment to. So accuracy really is important in this section. So we have obviously the BSB of the financial institution. We have the account number, the account name, and the bank name. So make sure this is correct. The account name in particular, use the name that you have with the bank, not what your nickname for the bank account is. Make sure it's your legal name, obviously. We've seen payments bounce back because of an error on the account name. And again, that obviously causes delays in getting the payment and the process completed for you. Just on the BSB section, we have a BSB search function for those who don't know what their BSB is. So it's a simple click search BSB option and type in your bank. You can see on this page here, you've got the Commonwealth Bank with that BSB number, and you can select from the drop-down section on the financial institution, and it will automatically pre-fill the BSB for you. I guess that avoids any typing issues when it comes to the BSBs, and hopefully saves a little bit of time and prevents those mistakes. So when your bank details have been done, you move on to this little section here. This is not mandatory, but is an opportunity for you to pass on any information about your claim that you would like us to know when processing. If it hasn't given you an option earlier through the claims questions, this is where you would provide any additional information. Again, optional, you don't need to complete anything in space. You can leave it blank and you can move on. And we're almost done. What happens next is the worker will sign, it'll ask the worker to sign the declaration. It's an electronic signature, so pretty much they just have to tick the box when it comes to a declaration signed, and the date fills with the date that they've signed it, and then it's a submit. So the long service leave claim would then officially be lodged. And we have the next stages, which is where the employer would jump on and do what they need to do. So that's good. So we've completed the claim for the worker. We would then move on to what the employer's role is and the time frame that we ask to be adhered to. So once the worker has submitted their claim, the portal, the worker portal, or actually the portal itself will instantly notify the employer. The employer will get an email saying that one of their workers has submitted a claim. The claim itself will pop up on the employer's portal on their dashboard for them to review. The employer would look to hopefully approve it if they've had those conversations with the worker beforehand and they've got some awareness of this worker wanting to take leave. The employer would also just need to check would need to provide the current average weekly hours and the hourly rate at claim date. Just for the employers to note, when you're approving this, use the date of approval, not the 30th of September for any of the leave applications. So if the worker's claiming state long service leave, use the date of your approval, not the 30th of September as an example. The other thing here that you'll need to be aware of is if there is a salary sacrifice component to the claim form, the employer will need to provide the employer's bank details and confirm the amount of the salary sacrifice arrangement on that approval page as well. So everything again is tracked in the worker portal. Everything's tracked in your employer portal, and those statuses are updated in real time. We ask the employers to obviously, approve and provide that information as soon as they possibly can. Obviously, we know that same day approvals aren't always optional or aren't always possible. So if we can just ask the employers to action that as soon as possible, it just means that the time frame for us to process the claim starts once all of that information is provided from the employer, and then we handle everything else from that point onwards, and including the payments. So just a quick run through of some of the other claim types we touched on earlier. We just ran through the process of a claim type when a worker wants to take some leave or like a holiday or whatnot. If a worker wants to cash out any of their leave in lieu of taking that holiday, it's a different form, but it doesn't require any dates to be entered. The worker would just select the days they want to cash out and their preferred payment date. What we aim to do in that space is try and align it as closely as possible to that date. We do process claims on Wednesdays. I think that's correct, Mandy. Yes, excellent. I'm glad I'm right. So if someone wants a payment on a day that's not a Wednesday, you can most definitely select a different date, and we'll do our best to make sure that that happens. Not always will it happen. It depends again on how much information that we need to get from your employer and that time frame to process the claim. The next claim type is the termination from the sector claim. This is even easier. It's when the worker wants to claim the full balance. We don't need any dates. The key thing here is we can't process the claim until the worker has left the sector completely. And then once that's happened, we gather all the information. We calculate the entitlements to the last workday, and we'll get things moving in that space. So really easy to manage the termination payments. We do most likely have to get some information from your employer, but we'll do all the calculations and we'll do all the payments. So again, all of these three different claim types are all in the portal. They're in the same portal, just making sure that you select the right one. I feel like a broken record, and I apologize for the people who think I keep banging on about this. Just want to make sure that people understand there's one universal rule when it comes to long service leave, that all payments use 7-day weekly basis. Long service leave, if you've got 1 week, it equals 7 days, 7 calendar days. When it comes to a cash out option, 14 days equals a full fortnight of pay. And when it comes to a termination, we look for the exact date to make sure that we pay the payment correctly and get the right payment amount correct. So there's a few common mistakes of what we see in this space that we just want to make sure that people are aware of, that they try to avoid doing themselves. If an employee wants 2 weeks of pay, they need to request 14 days. I know that the system will calculate it, but they just need to understand that that's the reason why. So from a calendar day perspective, and we want to make sure that they completely understand that and don't come back to us and say that they were expecting something different. If there's any questions in that space, please ask. We're more than happy to talk about that in full, because we, again, have had quite a few situations where there's a bit of misunderstanding or confusion in that space. As always, and as always with all of our webinars, there's always a lot of information to take in, and that's why we like to host as many of these as possible. We're here to help you and support you every step of the way. Please understand that we are experiencing a very high number of inquiries at this point in time and have been for some time. So if we don't get back to you on the same day, it's not as though we've forgotten about you. It is because we are working our way through all of the inquiries. So I will guarantee that we'll come back to you. I'm just not sure exactly when, but we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. In the meantime, we do have a number of resources available on our website. We have information sheets which cover off all sections of portable long service leave, and we have video step-by-step guides on our website. We also run these webinars regularly, and we record them and we upload them onto our website, and I'm getting really good at actually uploading them on the same day, so hopefully this one will be up later today. And again, our team here on the customer service team here are always available for answering your calls or responding to your emails. So feel free to pick and choose what option best suits you. I would suggest jumping on the website first and foremost and checking out what options are there. There are FAQs as well. If you are having trouble finding what it is that you're looking for, please reach out. So I just want you to take away this key message that you're not alone. We're here to help you. But there are multiple ways for you to get support. Finally, before I open it up to questions and for Mandy to give us a bit of a summary on how we're going through the chat, our website you can access using that QR code that you can see on your screen now. Or if you don't have a smartphone and it's not very smart, you can't take a picture, there's a website URL there as well. We post very regularly on our social media sites around news and reminders. I think today we've put up a post about your quarterly return and your levy, which is due today. So please follow us on either of those or both of those platforms. If you're having trouble finding us, I'm happy to send you a link. And really, that brings me to what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I'm just going to check in with my favourite operations manager, Mandy, and just see how she's gone with the chat so far. Hello.
So we've just had 2 more questions come through, and I was just about to write the answers, and I went, no, let's just talk about these because I don't have to type it then. So one of the questions was about the balances for the service that workers accrued before the scheme started. So if the employers completed the state long service leave return, then yes, we have those balances in the system. It's not super easy to see them on the portals at the moment, and we completely understand that. We are working on an update that will show that information. But because about 15% of the community services workforce has multiple employers and all of the long service leave accrued before the scheme starts is separate for each of those employers, it's been quite difficult to find a meaningful way to display that information for those people that they'll be able to understand exactly what they're entitled to. So workers who have one employer is pretty straightforward. We could just have a balance on there. But people who have multiple employers with multiple time they've spent in each one of those employers, it's been quite challenging to find a way for them to be able to really understand what it is they're entitled to. So apologies for the delay. It is coming. Like Aaron said a little bit earlier, if the workers want to check what they're entitled to claim at the moment, the easiest way for them to do that is to go into their portal, click on forms and click on long service leave claim. And then on that, in that employer details section, it will show them how many weeks of leave are available for them to claim based on what the information that's been provided in the state long service leave return. So that's kind of an interim solution for them to be able to check what's in the system and what they're available to take at the moment. The other question is about long service leave accrued after the scheme commenced. That is correct. In the claim form, you'll see the employer details section, and that will show the long service leave that was accrued before the scheme starts for each individual employer. So a person who has 3 employers will have 3 employer details section in that form with each one of their employers, and then how much leave is available to claim that they've accrued from each one of those employers before the scheme starts. And then after that, there's the portable long service leave details, and that's only for service hours accrued after the scheme starts. So the portable long service leave balances will be in a separate box to anything that happened before the scheme began. It probably sounds a little bit confusing at the moment, but I think that people will get the hang of it. There is a step-by-step guide available on our website as well, I think. Has that been put up there, Aaron?
Yeah, I linked it at the start of the chat.
Yep, there you go. Also at the start of the chat. So people who want to go and fill in a claim form, it's kind of handy to have that there to tell you exactly what fields need to be filled out and what they mean. Okay.
If anyone can't see it on the chat, it is on our resources page on our website. If you jump down onto toolkits, you'll be able to work your way down the enormous list of information there and find the right form. I can see
the
Jackie.
Other questions.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go. No, we'll get
Jackie's
to Jackie
had
and
her
her friend
hand
in a
up
minute.
since like the scheme started. So let's
go, Jackie and friend.
Since the webinar started.
It was a question that, just right back at the beginning about, you might be required, like it was your tax file number, bank details, and then it was any supporting documents. I just wondered what an example is of supporting documents. Comments.
Supporting documents aren't generally needed.
So it's step 10.
Yeah, so supporting documents aren't generally needed. It's just that sometimes, and the same with the comments, it's just sometimes workers want to give us some extra information about their claim, like they might want to upload a payslip or something if they're worried that their rate's going to get calculated wrong, or maybe they want to, I don't know, claim something a bit different and they want to communicate that to us somehow in the comment section. We just found that having that option available for people to tell us what they're thinking at the time can sometimes answer questions. Maybe they've said they're taking 2 weeks off, but they've only applied for 12 days or something. It sort of helps us to understand that, okay, maybe they've put the wrong dates in and they actually do want to take 2 weeks. And it gives us a bit of an indicator that we might want to contact them and confirm something so that we can hopefully process their claim how they were intending.
Thanks, Jackie and friend. Question as well. Sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
We're sharing a computer, so I had a question about the termination. So say if I decided I wasn't sure what I was doing and I wanted to take just 12 months off without pay and just get in my van and travel around or something, but I wasn't sure. So I could just leave the sector for a while and just leave it sitting there and it will just stay there.
Absolutely. With portable long service leave, if you're entitled to a payment, so that means you've got at least 7 years of service accrued across the sector, that balance just sits there indefinitely until you claim it. So it doesn't matter if you take some time off, 5, 10 years, whatever, as long as you had that balance already and that money was owing to you, it just sits there until you make that claim.
Yeah. And also with the salary sacrificing, I had a question about that. So I've got quite a bit going on with that with a novated lease, but there's also above that, I also have to pay a little bit extra in for the lease. That's after tax. So when I fill out the part that I'm saying needs to be put back into the organisation for my salary sacrificing, I just add that whole lot in. That's fine.
Possibly. So
it's not an actual salary sacrificed amount before tax. It's an extra payment that has to go with one of the salary sacrificed amounts.
Yeah, I think that's actually not going to get included. So when it comes to salary sacrifice, our legislation is quite simplistic, and it literally just says that if you have a salary sacrifice agreement, then portable long service leave will pay that amount for salary sacrifice to the employer, who will then pass it on whoever they normally do. We will tax the part that we pay to the worker, but not the part that we pay to the employer. So we'll deduct that salary sacrifice amount as per whatever the claim form said and pay that full amount to the employer to manage however they manage it. And then the remaining payment, then the tax will be calculated on that, and then that will be paid directly to the worker. So in terms of all the different kinds of agreements and things, it doesn't really cater for that in the legislation. Which is why it's not built into our claim system, is because we just don't have any provisions for allowing those different kinds. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to know, because I'm trying to work out. So will I be responsible for that extra payment that work usually pays across to that?
I would say so.
I can't answer that 100% sure, but I would say so,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll check with payroll.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I don't know if it was said earlier, Mandy, and correct me if it has. When it comes to salary sacrifice, do we need evidence of the amount from the salary sacrifice provider to confirm what we're sending back to the employer?
What is part of that process that in the legislation is that after we make the payment to the employer for the salary sacrificed portion, the employer does have to provide us with evidence that it has been passed on to the worker through the provider or however else they pass it on within 3 weeks of receiving that payment. So,
and how do they do that?
We've said to people at the moment, probably the easiest way to do that is through the direct messaging in the employer portals, because it's a bit more secure as well. So when you log into the employer portal, there's a messaging function there, and you can just upload the document and send it off to us that way.
Okay, so not a copy of the actual agreement, but maybe a copy of the transaction receipt or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. Okay, cool. Jackie, have you got another question? Or is your hand still up and you forgot to take it down? All right. Thank you for those questions. I've just chucked the link into the chat about the breaks of service from the industry. There are some rules around the time frames that you can take if you step away. Like the girl said, if you want to go and have a drive around in your van and you want to leave your service in the scheme and come back to it at a later date, there is some rules around that. So that link is from our website and gives you some really good information about breaks from the sector, breaks from the industry. Is there any more questions, or are we done and dusted with all of them, Mandy?
That was pretty much it. I answer the rest of the questions during the session. And they were just about rates of pay. So in the portal, employers will confirm that detail, and then about the calendar days. So if someone normally works 5 days a week and they want to take 2 weeks off, they need to request 14 days, and they will receive the equivalent of 10 working days, which is 2 working weeks, which is 2 calendar weeks.
Okay, I can see, looks like Katie's about to send us a question, but we'll just hold off on that as well real briefly. Oh, that she said thank you. Oh, that's okay. No questions, but I appreciate that,
Even
Katie.
better.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to take an opportunity right now as well to, and this won't apply to all of you. It might only apply to one of you, but we've literally sent out some information this morning to some organisations around the state long service leave return, which is completely different to the quarterly periodic returns. For anyone that hasn't submitted their document or their information as yet. It does obviously align with a little bit of what we're talking about today when it comes to claims, because if we don't have the data from the employer for each of your workers' pre-scheme service, it makes it all that more challenging to be able to assess the claims that come through, because we don't have the data available on their worker portal. So if you did receive an email from us this morning, please do what you can to get that action by the end of the month. If you do have any questions about it, or there's some confusion about what you need to do, just reach out. But it is completely different to the quarterly return, which you do every quarter. This is just a one-off return that does not attract any payment or any levy or anything like that. It's just a data collection for us for all of your workers that had pre-scheme service. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. I'm going to give anyone one last question. One last option, I should say. I reckon we're done. Thank you so much for everyone for turning up today. I'll make sure that we can get this recording up online so you can watch it at your own convenience. If you do have any questions after today, reach out. Again, we've got a team full of awesome customer service representatives and a website full of information that will help you along the way. So thank you. Have a couple of minutes back in your busy Tuesday, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks, everyone.